Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sips and Giggles. It's me, Miss Tina Lakes Tantrum, with legs from here to Antrim, with my work husband.
Yes, hello, it's me, Glenn. Hi. Hello.
Hello, my darling. How are you, love?
I wasn't sure whether to go high or low on that one there.
Well, you go any way you want.
Hello.
I'll carry you, love.
So how have you been? What have you been up to? As per usual, it's been weeks since I've seen you because, as you know, we record quite a lot of these in advance. And I know we've been working together and what have you, but we've not actually had a chance to sit down and have a bit of a blather.
We haven't had a chance to bless ourselves.
We haven't. Was it booked and blessed?
Booked and blessed. Love,
so tell me, what have you been up to?
Well, I wasn't well last week for a couple of days. There's something that you wouldn't have to know we're coming in the autumn winter.
I know. There's a lot of it going around, to be fair.
Really bad, sore, crampy tummy, feeling very twisted.
Oh, did you have a runny bum?
I had a run. Yes, I did. I had
You're looking dead skinny.
Bubble and squeak. And that's the only good thing that came out of it, because I'm away in November and I thought, you know what, if I wasn't going away, I would be fuming. But I kind of sort of thought, this is not a bad thing. What else have I been doing? Looking after Mummy and Thumper and getting ready for Halloween.
Oh, yes.
A lovely big show on the 27th of October in Donegal.
Yes,
haven't
absolutely, we have.
Yeah, how have you been, love?
I'm really good. Yeah, I have been just squirreling away, as you know.
I wouldn't.
Doing my 9 to 5 and
storing your nuts.
just tying up some odds and ends, doing some work that I've been sort of putting off. So no, all good, really, really good. Thank you. Sort of gearing up, a bit like yourself. We're getting into that sort of season now where it's just going to be back to back gigging leading up to Christmas, and then I'm away. So I'm getting into that sort of motion. After the end of this month, then we are pretty much flat out. So
full pelt Mahara felt.
Although I am looking forward to the end of the month because I'm off to Edinburgh to see none other than Queen of the Seas, Jane McDonald.
I really don't like you very much right now.
Why?
I love Big Jane.
We love Jane, and the last couple of concerts that she done was in Glasgow, and there was a crowd of us went across, so there's a crowd of us going across again.
Lovely.
But we're going over for 4 days or so plenty to do. Looking forward to it. It's only a couple of weeks away.
Plenty of drinking to do, you mean?
Oh, well, this is it. It's the only reason we go is so we can get absolutely sozzled.
I mean, who doesn't want to sit in an audience with Jane McDonald taking the microphone? I've yet to share.
She's really good. And I know
she is.
I know that she is an acquired taste for some people. And I know that some people will roll their eyes and go, oh, for goodness sake, it's Jane McDonald. To be honest, I'm not the actual fan. And I know it sounds like I am, but it's actually Gary is the massive Jane McDonald fan. And anytime that we've ever watched her in concert, you know, she is really good. She's a fabulous singer. Obviously, she started off on the cruise ships, so as you know, she can sing live, but she can really belt a tune when she is on stage.
Yeah.
But really good. Looking forward to it.
Me too.
So I was casually flicking through my phone this week.
Okay, this is interesting.
And I came across YouTube Shorts. I don't know if you've heard of YouTube Shorts before.
No.
So to give you a bit of just a bit of insight, a YouTube Short is the equivalent of an Instagram Reel or a Facebook Reel or a TikTok. So YouTube has their own kind of vertical.
Oh, they've got theirs now.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So you kind of frame that in your mind. So do you know the way on TikTok you get a lot of people doing their funny sketches and all the rest of it?
30 seconds.
Yes, exactly. Right. I came across one YouTuber, and her name is Abi Clarke. Abi Clarke Comedy.
Is she the model?
I'm not sure. She's a model now.
Is she from Liverpool?
I don't know.
And her husband
not Abi Clancy you're thinking of.
I'm thinking Abi Clancy. Yeah. Sorry, Abi. Wrong Abi.
This is Abi Clarke Comedy. You have to look her up. She does a whole bunch of skits on ASOS. So I don't know if you ever shopped on ASOS.
I have, yeah.
So do you know the way when you go on to ASOS and you put in, I don't know, just like a pair of jeans, for example, you'll get what you're looking for and then some. You'll get like a pair of jeans, you know, that has like 5 sort of like pockets, you know, like just got like extra bits of fabric that they've sewed on to make these sort of weird and wonderful jeans. She does a brilliant skit of a day in the life at ASOS HQ.
Right.
where she's like, we've had an emergency. One of the knitting grannies has passed away and she didn't finish the garment. It cuts to her being another character that goes, oh my God, what are we going to do? And it cuts back to the person and they go, oh, we'll just sell it. And then she puts up a picture of like a half knitted top, to sort of justify like
the granny died?
Honestly, you have to watch it. It's very, very funny.
What's she called again?
Abi Clarke comedy.
Abi Clarke
It tickled me. I literally death scrolled through most of her feeds or her feed the other day. It tickled me. So it just kept going and going and going. So look it up.
Okay, right. Okay, well, yeah.
I got really excited about that.
You did, didn't you? Like, I'm so glad to see that gorgeous wee glisten in your one eye. Honestly.
But I woke up on Friday just past, and we've got new music out.
No way.
We have.
Who?
Loreen has released a new single, and that's all I'm going to say. Because I'm a massive Loreen fan.
Yes.
But what I'm actually excited about.
2 times winner of the Eurovision.
2-time winner. First female to win the Eurovision twice.
Wow.
She was my iconic tonic in one of our past episodes.
That's right.
But the one that I'm actually really excited about, and you're going to love this by the way, is Cascada has a new album out. I know what you're thinking before you say anything. Cascada, dance. It's called Studio 24, which is a play on Studio 54. So she's remixed quite a lot of 70s, 80s tracks.
No way.
Now they're not like thump. So they are listenable. It's more kind of pop, but it's given me a brand new album to sort of throw new tunes on and some of the old classics. You've got Disco Inferno by Tina Turner. You've got Boogie Wonderland. Call on Me by Blondie. There's a whole host of tracks on there, which I think you're just going to love.
I love a bit of Cascada.
She is my guilty pleasure now, I have to say. Actually, I'm not even going to say it's a guilty pleasure because I don't feel guilty about listening to her. No. But she is, whenever we're decorating a Christmas tree, for example, and I know I'm talking about Christmas. And
I love the Christmas album.
But the Christmas album is the one album that I would put on to decorate our Christmas tree.
You celebrate Christmas?
Well, we don't. I mean, we put the tree up a couple of days before and then take it down a couple of days after.
Yeah, right, okay.
But anyway, so it's on all major streaming platforms, wherever you get your music from. Go and have a listen.
I'll download it as soon as it's gorgeous. We've done this wee recording, you know me.
But I think it would be a classic gym album.
That's exactly what it's going to be. Now, you are tech savvy.
Yes.
Right? And I am not.
Yes.
And I left school. Here's where I'm going with this. I left school in 1984. Nobody knew what the Tinternet was then. It just wasn't around. And even when I started drag, the Tinternet still wasn't around. So I would love to know now in 2024, right, what your thoughts of the internet are and what my thoughts of the internet are. So you tell me first what your thoughts of the internet are.
Okay, well, I can tell you my first memory of the internet was probably when I was about, I would say maybe 13 or so.
Wow.
So we're going back a good 26 years and this is whenever we just got our very first computer, and this is the computer, of course, with the massive tower and the CRT monitor, the big massive monitor, so there was no flat screens, and you had to get like a disc from SuperNet or AOL or whatever it was.
I remember.
So you pop the disc in and then you got the wee splitter that went into your phone line, and one half went in your telephone, the other half was the modem to your computer. And to go online, you had to then click the button online, and then you had that whole do
you remember that
sort of sound that was
sounded like a crashing noise.
And the fastest speeds that you could get was 56 kilobytes per second. To put that into context, it probably would take you about 3 days to download an album.
Yeah.
If you by today's standard. But websites weren't as flashy as they were today.
No.
That's through advancements of a technology known as cascading style sheets,
right,
amongst other improvements in technology. But that's the biggest sort of improvement that they've made. But it was very, very basic. And we didn't really have Google. Back then it was Ask Jeeves or a search engine called Lycos, which was a dog. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
But Lycos or you had MSN, which was another one that you could have looked up, but it wasn't very good. Typically, like Bing isn't today, it's not very good, which is Microsoft's answer to Google. But anyway, that's my kind of earlier memories of that.
But what are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts on the internet itself?
Oh, on the internet itself? Well, the internet has revolutionized civilization as we know it. We're far more connected as a planet. Access to information at the touch of a button. You don't need to think anymore. It's definitely the advancements you've just even in the last 20 years alone. I mean, my internet at home has a download speed of 1.3 gigabytes. So most internet service providers through standard ADSL or copper wire, which is what it might have been 10 years ago, the fastest you might have got was 3 megabytes. I'm talking about gigabytes, which is 3,000 megabytes.
You see, where I'm coming from with this, and that's all really, really super interesting. Whereas I am in my 50s, I'm getting closer to 60 now because I have my birthday next month. And when you say you can remember at 13, and my 13 was completely different.
Oh, I can imagine.
And I think my thoughts that I have are going back to being a real, proper, carefree child. So you at 13 were introduced to this wonderful, unbelievable toy.
Yeah. I have to stress, though, we weren't glued to it.
Yeah.
Because
the way they are now.
Yeah, because it interrupted. You know, your ma used to want to ring a neighbour, and it used to kick you off the internet. You couldn't be on the internet and on the landline at the same time, so you had to sacrifice that. And this is back in the days, really, before mobile phones were really what they are today.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to have a full scale conversation, your ma would have been on a phone call with a neighbour or a friend for a good hour and a half. And and you'd always be shouting, you off the phone yet? Can I get on the internet?
Yeah.
So I know exactly what you're talking about. You were sort of compelled to go out and terrorise the neighbours and play things, Blue Murder and Chase. And
my thoughts on it are, you know what? Here's my thoughts. If I lost the internet tomorrow, would I miss it? No, because I was born into a time and an era where we never had it anyway. And it came along when I was about 20, 21, 22. And because you were being taught it, because it was in schools, it was in the curriculum system, and everybody got at that time all at once, so to speak. So it was an education with it formed. I've always kind of sort of found it mystifying and hard to understand, and gigabytes and all that kind of stuff. And I still do. I do think it has its good qualities. I really do. Communication purposes, and for other different reasons. And I guess now, like, when you think back to you at 13, when the internet came out, first started, to what it is, it's so sophisticated now. And it's that knowledge of me being 56, looking and going and saying to myself, does it still intimidate you? And I'm like, oh yeah, big time. It wrecks me. It really, really does. Although I appreciate it, because I see there is good in it as well, but there's a lot of dark. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, to be clear, the internet didn't come out when I was 13. It's been around since the 70s, but that's my earliest sort of memory of when we got it installed. Do you
love the internet?
I don't know if I'd go to the extent to say that I love it. I would say that it's definitely enhanced my life. It certainly enhanced my ability. If there's something, there's something that I'm not sure of, I just look it up.
Well, you see, that's what I mean. I mean, also in a way, it's robbed a lot of innocence from society. I mean, when I grew up, and things that you had to learn naturally. You had to learn how to cook. You had to go to work. You had to count your wages. Everything was very, back then, old school. Especially when it came to communication and friends and socializing and, and playing outside and stuff like that. That's the only internet we had. That was our internet, was being outside. And when it got dark, like it is now, that's when you come in.
Well, that was it. It used to be when the street lights come on, you had to come home.
You had to come home.
I remember that.
You got the legs cut clean.
You'd have your ma standing at the front door screaming the estate down.
My mummy wouldn't have stood at the door.
And I remember when I was about 6 or 7 years old, I remember we used to play in sort of like the fields. And what it used to be is my ma would scream our names, but she'd go through all three of us. So she'd get like Rick, Glenn, Joe. Like she would, or it'd be Jolene, Rick, Glenn. She would be calling me, but she'd go through all three of us, that way. But if we were too far away to hear her, then a neighbour would come out and would also scream our names.
Right,
so it would always be like, you'd had a neighbour who could see us playing in the screen or would see us playing in the street and would go, Glenn, do you not hear your ma screaming on you? And then she would shout back, it's all right, Louise, I found him here. Back in the days when actually neighbours done those kind of things.
That's what I mean. This is what I mean about it. I think it's taken quite a lot of that neighborly kind of sort of community communication quality from society, whereas there's kids now and they're upstairs and the mummy will text them and say your dinner's on the table.
Yeah, but even the idea of a neighbourhood, and
I understand that's the way of it now.
Yeah, but the idea of
the
idea of neighbourhood has kind of evolved, because if we take that example, you can still keep in touch with your neighbours.
Yeah,
through apps. I think there's an app called Neighbourhood, funnily enough, where all your neighbours can sign up. And you can sort of have a chat with all of your neighbours. Facebook groups is another one, like buy and sell groups, or community pages on Facebook.
WhatsApp.
Or WhatsApp's another one. So I think it's just evolved. But yeah, I think that human interaction is probably just not there as it would have been back in those days.
Oh, it definitely isn't. That's what I miss most. Here's another wee question I want to ask you. I think this is a very interesting one. The changing landscape of education. Do you know why I'm saying this? Because I'm up earlier in the mornings and I see the kids going to school, and do you know what they don't have? School bags.
Okay.
As we used to call them back in the day, schoolies. Where's your schoolie? And that was the nickname for a school bag. And see, when we were going to school, way back in the day, honest to God, our school bags were like sacks of coal that were that heavy and that much many books in them, and it was like, honest to God, it was like carrying a fridge freezer.
Yeah.
Swear to God,
I can relate.
And I think to myself, and it made me think, my God, what is happening in schools these days? I have no idea.
Yeah.
So that's why the landscape has obviously changed. And then it made me think further. Have they changed the style, as in what you were taught in school, religion, geography, history, maths, woodwork? Have they dropped any of those type of subjects and brought in different ones?
I don't think they have. I think the thing to bear in mind is the delivery of those lessons have changed drastically. So certainly when I was at school, I was taught off an overhead projector on cellophane, and the teacher would have wrote on an overhead projector onto the cellophane, and you would have copied it off the board. Nowadays, they've got interactive whiteboards, which are just glorified TV screens that they can tap and draw on and stuff like that. But taking that one step further, like in primary schools, they now have iPads in the classroom.
Wow.
So a lot of lessons can actually be delivered digitally. So really, an iPad, for what it is, could effectively replace the
school bag.
The 50 books that you needed for a lesson, and the jotters when you've got notes, and you can submit stuff via email now.
I suppose in a way it saves the trace.
Well, it does. But then, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, really, because the amount of precious metals and, rare metals that go into making a device like that, and then obviously the cost of the carbon impact, to the planet and stuff. So it's, who knows?
6 to 1, half a dozen of the other.
But here, do you know what I was seeing on Facebook the other day?
What you saw on Facebook?
Every fecker uploading pictures of the northern bloody lights, of the Aurora Borealis.
Do you know something? Me and Thumper went out the other back. I was in my house coat and I had my wee fluffy slippers on, and I stood there looking up, and I was having a wee vape, and it was that cold. I couldn't be annoyed waiting. Because what do you call your woman, Charlene, who does the weather on GMB every morning? She's a lovely wee girl. She's and she put up on X, formerly known as Twitter, and she said it was like 10 o'clock, and she said, if you go outside now and look up, especially those of you who live up north, you'll get to see the northern lights. So I put my house coat on and me and a thumper went out the back, and I stood there looking at my toes were freeze. Here's me to him. I'll tell you what, maybe some other time. But yes, everybody and their wee sister some of them are lovely though.
Yeah. I think a lot of it though
quite spectacular.
Was only visible through a camera. You couldn't actually see it to the naked eye. It's only when you took a photograph of it that you would actually get a chance to see it in the image. Naturally, the further north, then the more visible it would have been. But God, my timeline was filled with them. The other thing in the news this week, I don't know if you've seen this, but we have a comet that's passing overhead.
Yes, I did see that.
It was only discovered last year. It's called Tuchishan Atlas. Tuchishan
Atlas,
which is Mandarin Chinese for Purple Mountain. But it was only discovered last year, and it was last seen 80,000 years ago. Back whenever the Neanderthals were roaming the world. Pretty much like today, to be honest. But
yeah, well, that's true.
Except 80,000 years ago.
Think, why has it come back again? Is it trying to tell us something?
But have you been following the scandal on Strictly this week?
I have. I watched it with and I heard Katya and
Gwyn,
and they were having
a Gwyn or Gwyn? Gwyn? I think it's Gwyn.
Gwyn, will you go in? You're not allowed out. So I think what they had said, I heard their apology this morning on the radio where Katya had said that it was just a personal private joke between the two of them, and he was putting his hand round her tummy and she pushed it back, but whoever zoomed in on it and made it creepy. You know, and obviously I don't know if there's anything in it, and are they just putting on a brave front because they've had enough scandal?
Yeah, I think I would say so. His name is Wyn Evans. So it's Katya Jones and Wyn Evans who were the partners, and I think possibly you're absolutely right that this, because Strictly has already had so much scandal, and they're supposed to be chaperoned as well, so they're not allowed to be left alone with each other.
That's right. So
I don't know whether perhaps, and I never watched it, I've read all the scandal about it. I've seen the clips online, and it did look, out of context, it does look a bit creepy.
Yeah, to me it looked creepy.
Possibly, do you think it's possible that he didn't do as well as he possibly could have, and she was just a little bit pissed off at him, and then she was sort of throwing her toys out of the pram a wee bit?
No, I'll tell you what it looked like to me. It looked like, to me, a girl was doing a job with a guy on a show, and his hand seemed to be just gliding across the front of her body, and she just didn't want to. So what she did was she was marking her territory by pushing his hand back and saying, right, see there, that's far enough. That's far enough.
Yeah.
You know, and it did come across as creepy. But then again, what it also highlights is that the rest of them need to be on their guard, because everybody's waiting for something to happen. Yeah. They're just waiting on that one thing. Yeah. Now, I quite like Strictly. I was never really a big Strictly fan because I was always a pop idol girl. I loved my pop idol, and I loved
the X Factor.
The X Factor. Oh God, I loved it. And my favourite year was the year of Leona Lewis.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, fabulous. Love Alexandra Burke, but only because they brought Beyonce in.
OK.com.
And but I was, and then I see one of my best mates, Sammy O'Boyle, he's always, I have to give it to him now, he is loyal. He's Strictly the whole way. So he still is. And now I'm Strictly. I quite like it. Right. So I do. I love a good quiz show now.
What about Big Brother? Because you know it's back.
Yeah, no, I'm not into it at all. I'm too old.
Hold on, wait a wee second. Were you not into last season's Big Brother?
Aye, but I couldn't be annoyed getting into ITV, what's its face and all. If it's not in front of me, I'm not going to watch it. It's as simple as that. And to be honest with you, no, I just didn't fancy it. I liked it back in the day when it was Davina McCall and it was on Channel 4 and it was relatively new and raw. I'm on Brian, what's his face from Dublin? He won it.
Brian Dowling.
Mm-hmm. And I remember once I met him in Union Street a couple of years after all the palaver had died down, and he was doing this interview, and he had said to me about being a drag queen, and he said, "Do you guys ever come on to you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he looked at me and he was like, Tina, would you like to come on the radio and talk about it? And I was like, no, certainly wouldn't. This is Belfast, love.
Well, some of the characters this year, one of them has allegedly changed their name from Rosie to Baked Potato as part of a task.
Right.
And now everybody refers to her as Baked Potato. You've got someone called Emma. She's 53. She's a mum. It's quite a diverse cast of housemates this year. We've got Days, who's a climate activist and is one of these just stop oil and chains herself to things and all the rest of it. We've also got someone called Lily. Now, Lily is a character. She's 20 years old and she works in a Chinese takeaway.
I love her already.
She is like an Energizer bunny. She's got so much energy that they literally need to try and wear her out. Do you know that kind of way?
Yeah.
But the cast is kind of interesting. There's also Ali, and she's a therapist or like a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting to see somebody like that on the show, just because they get to analyze the housemates, and then you can see her interactions with the housemates,
right?
Almost in like a kind of semi-professional way. Anyway, I would encourage you to watch it. It's not terrible.
No, I couldn't be annoyed. Do you know what I've been watching? Joan.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And I can't wait to watch the last series. I am beside myself. Loving it. Absolutely brilliant series. Watched it from the very first one. Do you know why? Because it's a true story.
Yes, so this is the ITV series Joan, which features Sophie Turner.
That's right.
Who was in Game of Thrones.
And she was also married to one of the
Jonas Brothers. Yes, and she took the role of the person that she's portraying is Joan Hannington, who was a renowned jewel thief.
Yeah.
It's a chronology of her sort of rise from petty thief to like ultimate jewel thief,
multi-million jewel thief, multi-million pound jewel thief.
And I mean, I really enjoyed the series. I know that you're only in episode 5, but I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. It also talks about the softer side of her, you know, being a mum and fighting to have, you know, get custody back of her child, and you know, in her mind, everything she's doing, all of the illegal activity is out of love for her daughter and daughter Kelly, and it sort of talks about the story of that as well. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
And she only gave up her daughter Kelly to social services temporarily because she was threatened, and her daughter was threatened because her partner at the time had borrowed a lot of money from these gangsters, and then he took himself off, and then it was her they were coming after and her daughter. So this is how it all spiraled out of control. And I find it fascinating. I love a good criminology true story.
It's very compelling TV, isn't it?
Yeah. Really, really good. And brilliantly acted.
It is
brilliantly acted. Just absolutely adore it. So I do.
Well, it's been good to catch up, Miss Legs.
Yes, indeed.
We must also just very quickly mention last week we did record our live episode.
Yes, we did.
That was recorded at 2 Royal Avenue in Belfast. It was your good self, Teddy Von Tramp, and for the first time on the pod, of course, Teddy Von Tramp and special co-host Jude Copeland.
Yeah.
So Jude will be in the sort of taking the reins for that episode.
How did that feel for you to have somebody else taking the reins?
I mean, I was more than happy for Jude to sort of take over. You know, I couldn't be in two places at once.
No.
I couldn't do the audio plus be on front and center because it's a live episode. We filmed the entire thing as well, so that episode will also be up as a visual episode on our YouTube channel and also on our Patreon as well.
Yeah,
it was. I was indifferent, to be honest. There was no real issue with somebody else sort of being in the hot seat.
Right. Okay.
It was refreshing, perhaps, maybe in some regards, because
it was nice. It was lovely. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I can't wait for all the listeners to hear it. It's full of wonderful content.
Well, I don't know how much of it we'll actually be able to put onto the pod.
I'm sure we can squeeze a few naughty bits in.
The funniest thing that I found throughout the entire thing was you actually swore more than Titty.
I know. I don't know why that was.
You were just getting comfortable. So this is the part of the pod where we ask quickfire questions.
Yep.
And we give quickfire answers.
Yep.
Without the context.
Yep.
And so far, Tina has managed to stump me on both episodes where we've tried this.
So I'm going for a hat trick, listeners. Tina's going for the hat trick. She's going for the jugular.
And it's only after I actually sit down and think about it, and then I get the light bulb moment and go,
why didn't I say that? Yeah.
Okay. So
I love this segment.
So this is our new segment, Shots.
Yeah. Okay, are you ready? I am going to go first. Here we go. What has been your favourite age so far?
30.
What is your go-to lazy dinner?
Pasta.
What is your favourite thing to do in the summertime?
Oh, go on a cruise.
What is one of your nicknames?
Mushroom.
What is the stupidest dare you've ever agreed to do?
Oh, call a girl a slut.
What?
I was in high school. She was one of the. I mean, there's no context. She was one of the popular girls, and I lost a bet, and it was a dare at the end of the day, and I had to go and call her a slut. We were really young and immature, and needless to say, she did not take it well.
Okay, here's my last one. If you were to write a book, what would it be about?
Music. Okay, you ready?
I am.
No hat trick this week. Boom, boom, boom. Okay.
But we still don't know who your favourite drag queen crush is.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
We might talk about that at the end.
Okay,
here we go.
Go.
What's your proudest accomplishment?
Miss Alternative Ireland.
What's your biggest fear?
Heights.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Always say thank you.
What's something you're passionate about?
My life.
What's a bad habit that you'd like to break?
Vaping.
What's a personality trait that you admire in others?
Good manners.
What's a risk that you took that paid off?
Drag.
What's a tradition that you cherish?
Dancing.
What's your love language?
Eyes.
What's something that you value in our relationship?
Trust.
Okay. We did good this week. We did good.
I did good, Bird. I did good. Yes.
So we should just give a shout out as well that we do actually have a gig coming up.
Yes.
In a Union Street.
In Union, as in Union Street / the Shoe Factory.
Union Street Bar, yes. This Saturday, which is the 19th of October.
Aye.
We're bringing our G&T karaoke back to the Shoe Factory.
Aye. Once again.
Where myself and the fabulous Miss Legs will be hosting a karaoke competition like none other. The greatest karaoke in Belfast, as I like to call it.
Y'all have ever seen.
So,
do you know what I love about our show? Do you know what I love about one of our shows, the G&T show? It's when you actually get up to sing.
Why is that?
Because they love you singing. Because you've got a really, really good voice.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, you can sing as well, though.
But listen, I'm the clown.
I
am the clown. And when you get up and we do a couple of wee duets, you see people going nudge. They go, oh my God, he's brilliant, Sias. Especially when you get up and you do your all-time classic, I Need a Hero.
That is. I genuinely need to try and pick new karaoke songs because I've been singing those songs for the past 20 years.
Well, we haven't done our mix.
We done it. So we have discovered a 70s mega mix.
Yes.
And we tried it one night at a gig and it went down well.
Yeah.
We just don't know the last song. So
that's the bit you talk through and get everybody else to sing. Yeah.
So we'll need to learn that last bit.
Yeah,
but,
we do.
But yes, we are in Union Street this Saturday, the 19th of October 2024. There are a few tables left. However, Bottomless Brunch has completely sold out.
Okay.
So you can reserve a table for £10. You are also welcome to come down and stand, of course. Yeah. So you don't have to have a table. You can just come down and be part of the fun.
But you will have to wait until everyone else is seated.
Indeed.
Yes. And also our Halloweenish show in Donegal on the 27th of October.
Yes.
Sunday.
Yes.
What's the name of the venue, Glenn? Because I can't remember.
Meadowbank Social
Club. Aren't they lovely down there?
They are.
They are. And Jamie, who runs it, what an absolute gentleman.
Indeed.
He really is. Absolute star.
And we've got a very special guest joining us in that show as well.
We do.
Indeed.
Oh, yes. Miss Karma.
Miss Karma Violet. Yes.
Violet.
So looking forward to that. As always, you can check out all of our shows on www.dragstoriches.show. Or you can just message Tina, myself on any of our socials and we can let you know where to go and look for that. Also, we have all of the events on Facebook as well. So go to Drags to Riches show on Facebook and you'll see all the events on there as well. Yeah. Just while I've got you, don't forget, please leave a review on Apple Podcast. This is a free app and you can get it on Apple and on Android. Your reviews mean the absolute world to us, but this also does mean that whenever you leave a review for the podcast, it's likely that our podcast will be found by others. So, it allows us obviously to keep the conversation flowing. Absolutely. Help us share the love with others.
Share the love. Share the love.
Share the pod.
Absolutely. Yeah. So listen, listeners, we really appreciate that because it is getting better and better. It is growing and it is growing. Do you know, and I forgot to tell you, so our Christmas show on Friday the 13th of December in the Older Fleet Bar down in Larne.
Oh yes.
Right. Well, when I was in Gran Canaria there, I met a lovely Dutch couple called Sandra and Theo.
Oh, okay. Hi Sandra, hi Theo.
Hi Sandra, hi Theo over there in Holland. Guess who's coming all the way to Belfast to come to our Christmas show?
Ach, they are not.
They are.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll be looking forward to that.
Staying in a lovely wee hotel in Great Victoria Street.
Oh, fabulous.
And I'm going to pick them up from the hotel. I'm going to drive them down to the gig and then I'm going to drive them home.
Oh, lovely. Lovely.
Isn't that nice?
Well, if you can't make it to that Christmas gig, we've got Christmas gigs in Jordanstown. We've got one at Crumlin Road coming up as well.
Yeah.
So, go head on over to the website. You'll find all the details there.
And then there's Tina's Christmas Bangers up in the Devonshire.
Yes.
The old Devonish.
Absolutely. And you're in Union Street doing G&T as well.
Yeah. The 7th of December, the 22nd of December.
Lots to see and do. Anyway, enough of the shameless plugging.
That's it.
So thank you so much for tuning in this week. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you so much, everybody.
We'll be back next week with our very special live episode.
Yes.
So until then, Miss Legs, chin chin. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of G&T Sips and Giggles. If you've enjoyed our conversation, then don't forget to share it with your friends, and why not subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Your reviews mean the world to us and really help others find the show, so please take a moment to leave one, but be kind. If you'd like to support the podcast, why not consider joining us on Patreon? For the cost of a drink a month, you can listen to episodes early, access exclusive digital content, and get discounts to upcoming G&T shows. Your support helps us keep the conversation flowing. Cheers, we'll see you next time. Chin chin.